Shavua Tov and good morning. I hope we've all had a refreshing break over August. And here we are back in the month of Elul, ready to continue our daily halakha and look forward to sharing the Torah with you over the course of these next few months. In previous years, we've discussed select halachot of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. I will rely on archives. If you want to learn more about that, you can look back on the archives in previous years. If you don't have access to that, feel free to ask. I want to continue focusing on what we've been discussing for the last few months, and that's the general concept of Hol Moadim, and to focus specifically on Hol HaMoed, of course, with Sukkot coming towards us. So what we've seen so far in the concept of Moadim is the positive aspects of Yom Tov, what we have a mitzvah to do on Yom Tov, and that was one topic. Then the second topic we dealt with was the negative, the melachot, what's not allowed to be done on Yom Tov, what's similar to Shabbat, not allowed to do on Yom Tov, and what is different to Shabbat that you are allowed to do on Yom Tov. And then we did the whole discussion of Yom Tov Sheni, the whole concept, its origins, nowadays, and traveling, and so on and so forth. Those are the three major topics we did with Yom Tov, and then we finished off before Tisha B'Av with some relevant and select halachot of the 3 weeks and Tisha B'Av. And so what's remaining really in this discussion is the whole concept of Hol HaMoed, and two aspects to Hol HaMoed. One aspect is the positive, what we have the duty to do on Hol HaMoed, and what's asur to do on Hol HaMoed. So B'ezrat Hashem, what we're going to do over the next few weeks, which will take us some time to get through all of this, is go through the halachot of Hol HaMoed, beginning with the positive aspects of Hol HaMoed, and then going to the what's asur to do on Hol HaMoed. Recognizing, of course, that we only have 2 times a year where we have the concept of Hol HaMoed. Of course, that's on Pesach and on Sukkot. Rosh Hashanah, although Rosh Hashanah is a Yom Tov, and all the halachot which we've discussed apply to Rosh Hashanah, right? Remember, all the halachot which we've discussed with regards to Yom Tov, including Yom Tov Sheni, all apply really to Rosh Hashanah as well. There's almost no difference between the halachot of Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot to Rosh Hashanah in terms of the Yom Tov in itself. Yom Kippur, of course, is different. Yom Kippur has the status of Shabbat in the sense of Melacha, but for Rosh Hashanah, it's the same. So that aspect, all the halachot we've discussed Yom Tov apply to Rosh Hashanah. Chol HaMoed, however, that applies only on Pesach and on Sukkot because we only have this period then, and so that's what we're going to focus on. Firstly, just to recognize there is a difference in terms of the length of Chol HaMoed between Pesach and Sukkot. Pesach, we only got in the Torah 7 days of Pesach. Outside of Israel, 8 days nowadays. Yom Tov Sheni, everything we've talked about, which means that in Israel you have 5 days of Chol HaMoed because day 1 is Yom Tov, day 7 is Yom Tov, and that means you've got from days 2 to 6 inclusive Chol HaMoed 5 days. Outside of Israel nowadays, we only have 4 days Chol HaMoed. We've got Chag on days 1, 2, 7, and 8, which means days 3 to 6, 4 days inclusive, we have Chol HaMoed. Whereas on Sukkot, this is the longest period of Chol HaMoed which we have. We actually have in Israel 6 days of Chol HaMoed, and outside of Israel 5 days of Chol HaMoed. Right, so we actually have 5 days of Chol HaMoed because we have Torah tells us 7 days of Sukkot and then an 8th day of Shemini Atzeret, which means in Israel you've got Chag on day 1, Chag on day 8, which means you have from days 2 to 7 inclusive. It's 6 days of Chol HaMoed, 6 days of Chol HaMoed, whereas here, outside of Israel, you've got Chag on days 1, 2, 8, and 9, which means we've got Chol HaMoed days 3 to 7 inclusive, 5 days in total. So we're talking about a period of time which is over Pesach outside of Israel, 4 days, and Sukkot 5 days, and in Israel on Pesach 5 days, and on Sukkot 6 days. So a substantial time during the year. It's important to recognize how the correct conduct is during these days of Chol HaMoed. So, firstly, to recognize that the Torah calls these days Mikra'e Kodesh. These are days of holy callings, and it's part of our Moed. Moed, as we discussed in the past, is a time, it comes from the word Yad, comes from the root of to meet. It's a meeting between us and Hashem, and Chol HaMoed are part of these meetings between us and Hashem. And so they have this unique status, and they are called Chol HaMoed because despite the fact that they are Moed, they are a meeting time, they have this connotation of Mikra Kodesh, nonetheless, they are still chol in the sense, they are still mundane in the sense that certain melachot are permissible. Again, what melachot are or melachot aren't, that we'll discuss with Hashem. But this is why it's this very interesting time where it's both chol, both moed, it's both mundane, it's both holy, and to recognize these two different types. So B'ezrat Hashem, that's what we're going to continue tomorrow. Tomorrow I want to talk about tefillin on Hol HaMoed. Okay, do we wear tefillin on Hol HaMoed or not? And to go through the positive aspects of Hol HaMoed over the course of this week. Have a lovely day, and it's a pleasure to be back and to continue learning together.